Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Claire McGreen, and this is Like Now and Then with Claire McGreen. In this episode, we will be taking a look at a very specific year, because today, in the year 2050, we're blessed to be living in the environment we've all worked so hard for. To find out what led us to this present-day healthier environment, one has to go back and look into the past. The year is 2020, and despite it being only 30 years ago, things were a lot different. Back then, we were just becoming aware that a healthier environment depends on the choices we made. Many species of animals went extinct. The planet heated up due to climate change. And while some chose to ignore the warning signs, others knew that they had to help their planet, their home. Past generations lived in a world that was dominated by buildings, waste, and pollution, with the loss of fields and nature. Climate change ravaged the planet, with wildfires burning vast tracts of land, and the ice caps melting at a rate that was gaining momentum with every passing year. Advanced technology meant that people did not need to leave their homes to socially interact with others. This led to a number of problems like obesity and anxiety. All, however, was not doom and gloom. Slowly, people started to realize that we needed to change the way we were living. We now go to the small island nation of Malta to talk to some of its inhabitants about how they put their plan into action. Good morning, Malta.
Gibraltar? No, hey, Malta here.
Yes, Malta, that's what I said.
Head? What's wrong with my head?
No, I never mind. This is Manuel Zamit, a local who has kindly offered to speak to us. Good morning, Manuel. How are you doing?
Morning, Claire. No, I'm not gluing anything.
Tell us, Manuel. Tell us about Malta and how these policies changed the life of the people there.
Changed the life of people's hair. Share it right.
For crying out loud. There. How has the life of people changed there?
Oh, where to start? One of the biggest problems we had was the amounts of cars that were on the road. I remember being in traffic jams that seemed to go on forever, and the air we breathed was...
That sounds terrible. It would also lead to an increase in cases of breathing difficulties and other health problems. So, how did Malta solve the issue?
Yes, we would put a tissue to our face and...
Issue! How did Malta solve the issue?
We started by improving mass transport, so we had fewer cars on the road. Did you know that in 2020 there were almost as many cars in Malta as there were people?
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes, it was hot. The government also started offering big subsidies to all those people who bought electric cars. And after a year or so, we noticed that we were breathing more easily.
In fact, after reducing the cars that work with fossil fuels and other things that pollute the air, the Maltese people started breathing much better. A lot more people also started enjoying going for a walk and using their bicycles. Did this have an effect on the happiness of the Maltese people?
Have an effect on the Maltese people? No, my people were not stuck in huge traffic jams, so they got everywhere less hassled. Here there was less gergir and the quality of life improved.
Gergir? What's that?
Hat. You like my hat? Hello.
Never mind. Let's carry on.
You know, John. Mentala doctor. We started producing items which served longer, thus generating less waste. Many products also had much less packaging. We threw away less and less.
How did you manage that?
Yes, we realized that the waste was a big problem and we had to do something about it. We started to separate rubbish into various types and we started to recycle whatever we could. For example, we said no more plastic and we started to reuse things instead of throwing them away and buying more. We also started building things like mobiles and computers that had the reused parts.
Really?
Manuel, Bill is my cousin. You know him too. He's friends with John, doctor. Things we bought lasted longer. And when they broke, we fixed them using parts from the used ones, so we throw away much less. I think that the biggest thing we did, though, was the safeguarding and creation of more open spaces where people could enjoy and experience nature.
How was this done, Manuel?
No, not Samuel. Manuel. Samuel is my wife auntie's cousin. You know him as well. Kem toughness.
Give me patience. The environment changed. How was it done?
Sun. Yes, plenty of sun here.
Done. How was it done?
Hey, no need to shout. We decided not to build on our fields. We created more nature reserves and allowed nature to grow and flourish at its own pace.
These areas could also be used as recreational areas, meaning that families had places to go for walks and picnics. This would have had an impact on the mental health of the population.
Equation, hey.
Thank you for your time, Manuel, and for being such a amazing guest.
I was the best. Thank you, Albi. I never thought that I...
Joining us next is businessman Andrei Kutayar. Good morning, Andrei.
Good morning, Claire. I am a huge fan of yours.
Thanks.
One could say your biggest fan.
Once again, thanks. Now, could you answer a question or two, Andrei?
Of course, anything for you.
We were hoping you could talk to us about how the business side of the island improved with the changes that were made in 2020.
Well, like myself, the country has been going from strength to strength ever since these policies were introduced. As soon as the air got cleaner, the waste was not wasted anymore, and the natural areas were allowed to flourish. Realized that money was important, but so was our health, our happiness, and our relaxation, which in turn led to a better quality of life. Do you know I have a yacht?
Congratulations. The main source of income for the country was tourism, right?
Correct. The better the country became, the better the quality of tourists that started to come here.
Quality tourists visited rather than quantity, then?
Absolutely. You should come visit. I'd be glad to show you around, maybe take you out for a drink. You know, you being a quality tourist.
Let's carry on, shall we?
The country became more attractive to visitors who chose to live in Malta. Those who decided to retire here found a beautiful and clean environment to enjoy with their families.
That's great, Andrei.
Oh, please call me Andy. All my good friends do.
I'm sure they do, Andrei. Malta's famous for its beaches and clear blue seas. What did you do to protect your sea?
Well, first of all, we started to take better care of our beaches. Unfortunately, previous generations didn't take good care of them and would leave trash all over.
Oh dear.
Not me, however, Claire Bear. Do you mind if I call you that?
Actually, yes. Yes, I do.
Well, I always make sure that my beach remains spick and span. Did you know that I make sure turtles are welcome near my beach restaurant? I make sure that all my lights are switched off at night. I make sure there is no noise to disturb them. I love my turtles. Do you want to see my turtles tonight?
No, Andrei, I do not. Thank you very much. How did Malta handle the problem?
We started by making people realize that we don't need to work against nature. We would never win, anyhow. Remember the coronavirus? We learned a lesson or two from that. Then we also made sure to give people caught littering heavy fines. And so the beaches started to be cleaner. We also organized teams to clean the beaches regularly. Apart from that, we also created nature reserves near the beaches and turned them into little pieces of paradise, so wildlife and people go to share the same space.
Wildlife? Like what?
Turtles laid eggs on the beaches. I already told you that. The birds nested in the trees, bees came back from the brink of extinction, flowers started blooming, and because we started to respect, support, and sustain the natural cycle, we found ourselves benefiting from the extra money that tourists were willing to spend here on Malta. We could then spend that money to improve other areas, like, for example, sustainable fishing. Did you know my cousin owns a sustainable fishing business?
Really?
Yes, and you would be the finest catch, Claire Bear. The rarest of catches.
Yes.
A sea nymph, if you will.
I won't.
Beauty like no other.
Anyway, tell me about sustainable fishing in Malta.
No, of course. There was a time where we would fish so much that certain types of fish started to become more and more scarce.
That sounds terrible.
It was. However, with the new policies in place, those species of fish started to become commonplace once again. And by not fishing the baby fish, fishing only the amount we needed, and when it was allowed, our seas became alive and our restaurants started to flourish. Thanks to the new market, I was able to employ over 50 people.
So, these policies are what really helped your businesses along, then?
Oh, absolutely, Claire. I would like to thank, if I may, all the previous generations that came through for their children 30 years ago. If it wasn't for the efforts and sacrifices that they made, then we would not be here today, living and working in this country we so proudly call home.
I'm sure that there are many others who feel the same.
So, when are you coming over to meet?
That is all the time that we have for you today, Andre. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us.
Yes, but you didn't answer.
Thank you to Andre for that informative and somewhat awkward interview. And now joining us we have Daniella Caruana, a young student of law at the University of Malta. Hello, Daniella.
Hi, Claire.
There's a lot of noise from your end, Daniella. Have we caught you at a bad time?
No, not at all. Just having a barbecue with some friends.
I see. Could you perhaps...
Put on the sausages now and then put the burgers. Should I ask them to move a bit further away?
that would be best, thank you.
Okay, go away, guys!
Daniella, on today's program we're talking about the policies that were made back in 2020 and how that impacted the lives of various people who live there. Could you tell our viewers about life as a student in Malta in this day and age?
Life is awesome! Woo!
Right. Could you elaborate further?
Well, firstly, we have a really clean environment, right? The whole place is so much better now that we are living within our means. So much so that we students take on a rotation to give something back to nature. It's all part of our credits at uni as well. No, I can't come take a selfie right now. Can't you see I'm in the middle of something? Sorry about that.
It's all right. What you mentioned about your learning, that sounds very clever.
Oh, it totally is. And we get to practice what we learn too. The fact that the school is gorgeous to look at helps us study in a calm and relaxed area. No, the drinks are in the other bag. The other bag! Oh, excuse me a sec. Okay. This bag! They're reusable, so please keep your own cup. Sorry about that.
Look, if this is a bad time...
No. That was the last interruption. Promise.
Fine. You said that your school is gorgeous. Could you describe it to our viewers?
Of course. The school has lots of greenery that are basically nature reserves. And all the buildings, I mean all the buildings, have nature integrated into the design. Like a green roof, a green wall inside and outside. So it feels like even when we're indoors, we still see greenery all around us. That makes the school day really calm, so studying and learning become easier.
That sounds very relaxing.
And because we're surrounded by nature, we students go out more and interact more with each other, face to face rather than staring at each other on a mobile or laptop screen. We go hiking for fun, and we even have barbecues there sometimes.
This being one of those times?
Yep!
Sounds like your country has made some very sensible decisions. When you increase the amount of green open spaces on the island, not only will it be much nicer to look at and more relaxing for everyone, the air will be cleaner and people won't have any more breathing problems. What else do you think has helped you students to have a healthier lifestyle?
Well, it's all a cycle, Claire.
What do you mean?
I mean that one thing leads to another. Once we had a healthier environment and cleaner air, we became more productive and came up with even more ideas on how to make things even better. More buildings got their energy from the sun and the wind, two things that in Malta we have a lot of.
Great thinking. By getting people to invest in renewable energy, Malta got cleaner energy and cleaner air.
Fire! It's a fire!
Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Is everyone all right?
Yeah. Not the sausages, though.
Right. So you were saying about energy.
Yes, by converting to using natural energy, the school saved a bit of money, and that money was used on other things and activities. Listen, you try and start that barbecue again, and I will end you.
One last question, Daniella, if I may. How difficult was it for you and your fellow students to adapt to the new way of doing things?
Oh, not difficult at all. The ones who had the difficulties would be the previous generations, because they are the ones who had to adapt to the change of lifestyle, and change can be a bit difficult. Those who started it all must have had the courage of a lion, and I am so grateful for them for not giving up, because changing one's ways must have been hard. But we're so glad that they did. And if I could go back into the past, I would tell them, thank you. Thank you for realizing. Thank you for trying, for not giving up. I mean, look what we have managed to achieve.
It's good to see that well-being has become such an important part of Maltese culture. Thank you for your time, Daniella, and for being with us.
Thank you, Claire.
Fire! It's another fire!
Oh, for Pete's sake!
We hope that Daniella will be okay. As you can see, the changes in the National Strategy for the Environment that started in the year 2020 over the last 30 years in the small islands of Malta and Gozo have made some changes that have helped this tiny nation have a brighter, cleaner and more sustainable future. These changes were not always easy to make, and they took some getting used to. However, by working together and changing the way they live and think, the people of Malta were able to turn their island into a shining example for all countries to follow. The rest, as they say, is history. Remember that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with just one step. So start your journey of 1,000 miles by taking that first step today. Start the change and you'll see how you, along with your friends and family, can make a really big difference. This is Claire McGreen for Like Now and Then, saying thank you for watching.
And we're back live here in the Science in the City studio. And that was Like Now and Then, a performance by More or Less Theatre. We have Angèle Gallia here with us. Thank you for sticking around
my pleasure.
to talk about what we have just seen.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about what have we just seen?
Yes.
It sounds like a bit of a utopia, right?
Well, we can strive towards that, and that's the intention of ERA. And this whole process started with a vision for 2050, and the general public and everyone involved had to vote. There was different scenarios that we could vote for, and the one that was chosen was well-being first. And with well-being first, we will strive to have all the entities together working towards to support decision-making processes with an analytic framework to make it more suitable for a better environment for everyone, a healthier space to live in and to cohabit with every other creature that inhabits this planet, and mostly our islands.
Yes.
And
so this is what people actually chose. This is how people
Yes.
see their future.
Yes, this vision for 2050.
It's called the Wellbeing First Vision for 2050 by the ERA.
Yes, it's a 30-year plan, and we are striving to move towards that utopia. And what we would like to propose to our audiences is that we want that together we work. We are the ones that those characters were thinking to work towards that, not utopia, but let's
an ideal situation. This is where we want to arrive, and we have to take
our
practical
goals.
steps towards achieving that vision.
That's right. And I wish that this is not a fantasy, that we are actually, we take our decisions properly, we take responsibility so that we actually aim for there.
It's like you said there, it's like the first step towards that journey.
Yes, that's right. And to do that, ERA are going to be proposing pledges for audiences to take. What are our audiences willing to do to strive towards that? And we also have a Mentimeter, which the link will be shared in the chat or Facebook, whichever platform you're using, and you can click on it and start seeing what actions one can do. These are small actions that you can take so that you can strive and help in that direction.
Fantastic. Maybe we can start with the first question of this
Yes.
Mentimeter.
So
the first question is, why do we need to protect our environment, and how will we protect the environment?
So I would like to start by explaining why we need to protect our environment, so then you can take more responsibility for the choices you're going to make. So there's 80% of our planet's countryside has already been destroyed. Half of our oxygen comes from trees, so we need to take care of trees. Forests contain 80% of the world's terrestrial biodiversity. 1 in 4 medicines stem from rainforest ingredients, and 1 in 3 removes 48 pounds of carbon per year. So every tree counts. So going back to the pledges, what can we do? So you can obviously choose more than one action, and as you will see, each action is very small.
Yes.
1, you can buy or exchange second-hand books. You can use leftover paper for copybooks or rough paper. You can take care for your own tree, plant, or water those in your locality. You can grow your own plants from fruit and vegetable scraps. And also you can buy eco-friendly presents this Christmas. So these actions will determine how many trees we're left with, and the more trees we have, ideally we have one per person. We have 7 trees. That's how much we need, how many trees we need to get our supply of oxygen. So let's start with taking care of the trees that are already in existence, and then we start moving towards planting even more, but taking care of them. You don't just plant trees, especially in our hot summers. We don't have tree saplings and you leave them there. So we need to take care of them.
Right.
So that was the first.
Let's get them voting then for what actions the audience is going to be taking. So
to protect the environment.
Yes, to protect the environment. So the second question is, why should we throw away less stuff? Now, Angel, explain this and then...
Yes, so reasons for not throwing away more stuff is obviously to produce less waste, so that we waste less and save our remaining limited natural resources. These have a finite resource. In addition, it saves energy, and so we do not waste land for landfills. And we can go now to the pledges themselves on the Mentimeter. And the question is, how will you take care of our air? So
I think we need to go back
we skipped
to...
one, yes,
yes,
doesn't
we did
matter.
skip one.
I will mention the second question. It's not the one that's been shown right now, doesn't matter. So what can you do to throw away less stuff? People who have already gone through would see the one that has been already aired. So first, use reusable lunch boxes, cutlery, and water bottles. Reuse things as long as possible and avoid single-use items. Separate your waste in the appropriate bins. Remind parents to buy products with less packaging. I would add, we start complaining and asking for less packaging in the first place.
Yes, agreed.
And fix broken items when you can, instead of buying new ones.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's move on because we don't have a lot of time left. So the third question, as we saw, is why should we take care of our air? Give us some reasons.
Yes, good air quality keeps us healthy, obviously. It is also important to keep it clean for every living organism, both animals and plants.
Fantastic. So let's go on the pledges. What are the pledges for the air?
So,
let's read them out.
How will you take care of our air? We have use public transport whenever possible. Get your daily needs from shops you can bike or walk to. Use the ferry to cross from port to port. Carpool with friends or family to go to the same destination, obviously within your own bubble at this moment in time. Use school transport instead of your private car.
Okay, so do your pledges, and let's go on to the fourth question, the fourth and final one. Why should we take care of our green open spaces?
Yes, so green open spaces are important for our well-being as well as biodiversity. They give us the space where we can relax, exercise and run around. They are also the place plants and animals call home. So here we have how will you take care of your green open spaces. We keep quiet so we do not disturb wildlife, admire wildflowers and plants, but do not cut them. You can climb the trees, but do not damage them. Take your litter home with you. Also, do not discard unwanted pets in the countryside and keep to the countryside paths and do not trample. So that way, the public spaces that we have are green, we take care of them. They are limited, but we do have, and if we take care of them, then we'll start seeing them blossom and flourish, and it's for us to enjoy.
It's great to see that these are very small actions and that everybody can do. We're not asking people to do the impossible. These are really small changes, and if we commit to these actions, we can see a real change in the long term, which is what this is about, because it's...
Yes. Indeed, and the beauty of it is that once you have registered your pledges, these go directly to ERA and they will take them to policy level to make sure that your wishes, the wish that you have chosen by well-being first, is actually kept for the next 30 years, and we will see a difference. We are at a point where we can make a difference. If we leave it for later on, this might not be the case, and it would be too late.
And if anyone wants to do more pledges, can they visit the ERA website?
Yes, I would say that more can be done by visiting the website of ERA, Facebook pages, and become an engaged citizen, because that makes the biggest difference.
Fantastic. I think we have the results. The results are in, so let's have a look at what you, the audience, have pledged. This is interesting. Okay, the first question. How will you protect the environment? So the most people said two. We have an exact quote. Care for your own tree or plant or water those in your locality.
Oh, beautiful. And use leftover paper from copybooks or rough paper.
Okay, fantastic. Let's go to the next question, which is, why should we throw away less stuff? And the results are in.
Yes, this is like very exciting festivals, right?
Yes, it is. So we have the maximum pledges, which are 20 and 20. The first one is fix broken items when you can, instead of buying new ones. And another 20.
Reuse things as long as possible and avoid single-use items.
And then we have another 19 and 19. Fantastic. Yes. So great.
This is encouraging.
This is very encouraging.
We actually have more than yesterday, so I'm very, very happy.
Yes, we do have more pledges. So then, the third question. Why should we take care of our air? So we have 20 pledges for get your daily needs from shops you can bike or walk to.
Yes, and with 19 we have use the ferry to cross from port to port. Huh? That would be so cool, because every day before you start your day, you can splash around. Oh, that's 10.
That's 10, yes. So, but the 17 is the second one, which is carpool with friends, family, to go to the same destination.
Oh, there you go. That's how my tiredness is showing. I can't even see anymore.
We know that you have been busy, Angela,
yes,
so it's
but
fine.
It's all worth it. I'm really happy that I'm here.
The fourth and last question. Why should we take care of our green open spaces? And most people pledged the 19. So that's admire wildflowers and plants, but do not cut them. That's easy enough to do.
Yes.
And then...
Is it number 4?
We have 18 there, the number 4.
Yes, take your litter home with you. That's so easy. You just need a bag and there you go. Don't leave anything behind. Leave no trace, like a ninja.
And that's a bit of civic sense as well. So
it's true. These are all minor responsibilities that if we all do them together, we will see a big difference.
Yes.
And we will be the ones who enjoy it.
Exactly. So we all need to commit and take responsibility.
Yes.
And do some of these little actions. Fantastic. Okay, so I think we've come to the end of the section. Thank you, Angel, but we will be seeing you later.